Hello, everybody.
Hey.
This is another exciting moment as we do our second Facebook Live. And I want to start by thanking everybody for joining us today. One of the things I really want to do is create forums for conversation and dialogue. And what we thought we would do is every time we put a newsletter out, we would have one of these sessions to hear your feedback and to get your ideas for others. So I'm joined today by my friend and editor, Amanda Burgess.
Hello, everybody.
And we thought we would spend some time kind of walking through some of the topics that we explored in this month's newsletter, which was about memories and rituals, and answer any questions you might have, and then talk about some exciting things that are coming up, such as our new website and incorporating all the feedback that we got in the recent survey that we did with you just a few weeks ago. So let me start by introducing Amanda, who I've known for about 10 years. And she's a dear friend, and I think we have a lot in common too, right?
We do.
We're both single mothers. We have daughters. You have 2 daughters. I have 1. We both love writing. What else?
To travel.
What else? Oh, of course, travel. And you've had a lot of experience in the publishing industry as well, and have been an editor. And
Absolutely. I started my career as a journalist before going into public relations, branding, and then ending my career in marketing before going freelance. So really run the gamut. I was an associate editor of an international trade publication that covered the kids' entertainment industry for several years at the beginning of my career. So really honed my journalistic skills there, and that carried me throughout my career, really.
Yeah, I think writing is just one of those wonderful skills to have, right? And tell me, what's your favorite travel destination? What's a place that you love?
I couldn't pick just one. And I think my home is really a reflection of all of my world travels.
Yeah.
My late husband, and I collected art wherever we went in the world. So my home is like a museum to my travels. One of my favorite pieces, I have a triptych. We bought 3 pieces of teak when we were in Bali one year, and we had a Balinese artist paint Jesus, Muhammad, and the Buddha across these triptychs, which now sit on my bedroom wall. And they're sort of gold leafed all around the side and carved and then beautifully painted, these 3 images. So it takes me back to like the Balinese jungle every time I look at it, and I look at it every day when I wake up. So
That's lovely. I feel like we should be having coffee right now, or wine or something, to hear more about this, right? Well, before we want to talk about some of the editorial with you for sure, and that's why I asked Amanda to join today. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about how we think of the editorial and how we think of JourneyWoman and the ethos of JourneyWoman. And I was so lucky to be interviewed by the wonderful Erica M. on the last Facebook Live that we had, which is how I found the courage to do this again. But one of the things that we didn't really get into was a bit of what I believe, and I want to share that with you because I think it's important that you, as our community, know what I'm thinking as we're developing the content, thinking about the future of JourneyWoman and expanding Evelyn's legacy, of course. But one thing, I've had many roles in my life, and I think the one thing that has made me successful in all of them is that I care deeply, and I care deeply about the people I work with. I care deeply about all of you. I care what you think. I care what our sponsors think. I care also about things like authenticity and integrity, and something you learn when you're leading different organizations is how important it is to have a strong sense of values, and they're really not they are hard to, I think, earn, and I've worked really hard at those things in my career. So it's very important to me that JourneyWoman is a trusted and authentic place for you and for women who want to travel and women who want to travel solo, and anybody that is looking for a place to go to where you can count on things to be honest and real. And I think Evelyn would agree with that. So much of what we see in the world today, it's very hard to tell what is true and what is not. And so our goal, and I know Amanda agrees with me on this, is we want this to be a place that is real, a place that is honest, a place that we can learn together and make mistakes together and share our challenges and our fears, and all of us go through this journey of self-discovery together. So that's really important, and something that I think compelled me to want to take over this business was sustaining that idea that Evelyn created. The other thing that I think Amanda knows from working with me is I'm a really hard worker. And I will work very hard at this, not just for the next few months, but I'm in this for years and years. 10 years, 20 years, I'm in it. And I want to do everything I can to make it a place for all of you that feels comfortable and welcoming and approachable. So that's very important to me. And I am learning. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes here. I have been joining a lot of different travel writing organizations. I just spent 12 weeks taking a travel writing class to make sure that I, could write at a journalistic style level. And I've just been accredited to go to the New York Travel Show. I've been to TBEX, which is a travel blogger show, which was fantastic. So I'm kind of in the learning zone, and I'm dragging Amanda along to different events as well, so that she can be on that journey with me. But I know that I have to earn the right to take this business over and to sustain Evelyn's legacy, and I welcome any feedback and ideas you have. And frankly, have met with so many JourneyWoman and had so many wonderful messages from you of support and ideas. In fact, I wouldn't have gone to TBEX if one of the community members hadn't suggested that. So anyways, I'm trying to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can, so that so we can get JourneyWoman to a place that you find a lot of value in and trust. So that's what I'm all about, and I don't know if there are any questions about that, because I am old and I can't read the screen. It's very far away.
I am too, and I also cannot read the screen.
So we have somebody here helping us, but it's still a little touch and go, Facebook Live, second one. Anyways, we'll carry on and hopefully be able to read the screen shortly and answer questions. I want to talk a bit about some of the, with Amanda, about some of the themes, and maybe we'll start a bit with the editorial calendar. And so that is posted on our website, and it basically outlines the thematic approach to all of the issues for the next year. And so we've done one, which came out in October, and now this one is about memories and rituals. And then the next one in January is about serendipity. So Amanda, do you want to talk a bit about what these themes mean, like why these crazy names?
Absolutely.
And they feel a little abstract in
They're
a way,
very
right?
abstract, but when we were taking a look at what we wanted our editorial to do, we didn't want run-of-the-mill travel editorial. We didn't want to be focused exclusively on destinations and, the reasons people go certain places. We wanted to focus on the deeper meaning, the deeper whys behind why we travel. And some of those whys are universal to all of us, but a lot of those whys are deeper and more personally meaningful. So we developed some themes that focus on those broader universal whys. Things like inspiration, memory and rituals, serendipity, growth, curiosity, love, and generosity. These are all reasons why many of us who travel a lot travel. But then we also wanted to leave it open enough so that we can dig a little bit deeper with you and get into some really meaty themes that get to your more personal whys.
Because we're all on this kind of this journey of self-discovery, right? And travel is, at least from my experience, I think is one of the best ways to learn things about yourself that you may not know. Finding courage and curiosity is so essential and so needed. And so I think, from my perspective, all of these are, you might call them sometimes soft skills even, but they're so needed in today's world. And I also want to be a role model for my daughter as well, in terms of, what are the generosity and empathy and all these things that are so needed in the world and so needed for them. So I think we're trying, it's not to say we won't cover destinations and all of those things. Of course we will. I think this is more about trying to elevate the discussion and connect in a more emotional way.
It gives us a more meaningful lens to focus on specific destinations without focusing on the, Croatia is hot right now, why don't you go here? It's like, what aligns with your personal values and what you want to get out of travel, and then figure out where you want to go.
Yeah, and I think also we are trying to invite a conversation here. So this issue, I'm actually very proud of, because I think you did a great job pulling out stories from people that these lovely stories about places that they went and when they were uncomfortable, and being able to share that, I hope will help other people. So tell me, let's talk a bit about some of the stories that we did. So there were kind of three main features that aligned with that theme, and then we can talk about some of the other
Sure.
features as well. But.
So when we were planning out the features, we knew that we didn't want to just do a happy, happy, joy, joy holiday issue.
We did.
We did.
We're happy.
We wanted to be happy by the end of it. But, we recognize that the holidays aren't only a time of joy and happiness for people. The holidays can be a very difficult, challenging, personally uncomfortable time. You get triggered by your family. Maybe you're experiencing some mental health issues. Maybe you've experienced some loss, and this is a time of grief for you. And we wanted to recognize that, but we also wanted to put our own personal spin on that. How can we recognize that in a way that is relevant and meaningful to JourneyWoman and the concept of travel and all of our readers? So that's how we came up with the memory and rituals theme for the holidays. And really we wanted to focus on the times when you do get uncomfortable when you travel, and the times that, that leads to personal growth and change and personal discovery. And, it's about those times where you push fear aside and you push all of those thoughts and limiting thoughts and beliefs and those, that little voice that says you should, you shouldn't, do this, do that.
And you just do it.
Push all of that aside and you jump in with both feet, and then you think, why didn't I do that before? We wanted to focus on those times. So that piece was really, really interesting. And
so that one that you're talking about was
transformational travel experiences.
Transformational travel. And so you went out and interviewed a number of people. Tell me about those people and what they.
So it was an amazing experience. So I spoke to one woman. Her name is Brenda. And this was a long time ago that she took this trip, but that's how much the experience stuck with her. She wanted to prepare for a time in her life where her family would be gone. She would need to spend a holiday alone. And I mean, who can't relate to that? We all have to think ahead. I really applaud her, the personal love that she had for her future self in doing that. But one of the funniest things to come out of that conversation, and it just goes to show that you should ask questions that aren't related to a story that you're covering. Just something that I always had in my mind as a journalist. I went down lots of side roads in my interviews, and it always led to gold, even though I might not use it in my specific piece.
Yeah, you like to ask a lot of questions.
I do like to ask a lot of questions. Sorry, it's my curiosity. So I asked if there was something that happened, if there was anything funny or out of the ordinary that happened, or a mishap that occurred on her trip that she wanted to share with me, beyond the personal growth and all of that. And so she had gone to Oaxaca, Mexico, and she had packed she was going to stay, I think it was a month and a half, something like that. And so she was in a long-term apartment rental in Oaxaca, and she opened her luggage and realized that she had spilled an entire bottle of peppermint oil all over her clothes. It got everywhere. When she took her clothes out of the bag, it spilled everywhere. And she had noticed when she got there a cockroach, she says the size of a size 5 shoe outside the door, and a whole bunch of ants.
I don't think I would have stayed, but
And as soon as the peppermint oil spilled everywhere, she started noticing a conga line of ants like dancing up out the windowsill and out. And she said, the windows were open the entire stay that she was there. She had a 1-inch gap between the door to the apartment and the inside of the apartment, and she never saw another bug again the entire 6 weeks that she was there. So it was a travel hack discovered by accident, and now she carries a bottle of peppermint oil wherever she goes.
which is a bit, I'm going to segue a little but then come back, which is one of the new features that we are starting is something called Ms. Adventures, which kind of, and I think we just sent this idea out. In fact, it went out on Instagram just a little while ago as a great story, and we'd like to hear more of those stories, because this is a wonderful way to not only learn travel hacks, but learn about when things go wrong and what do you do. And I mean, I just had an experience flying back from New York this week where all the flights were canceled on the airline that we were at, and one of the things I've learned is you can actually ask to be put on another airline when that happens, and unfortunately we were able to do that, or we wouldn't have come back until a day later. So there are all these things that kind of go wrong, and so how do you deal with them, and how can we learn from each other? I think those are always good. Now, the women that you interviewed in this article,
yes,
about transformational travel, I think we'd like to thank them. So maybe you could just
Absolutely.
mention their names. And
so Brenda, Marty, and Aurelia, thank you for sharing your stories with me. Thank you for being so open and forthcoming with the good, the bad, the ugly of those stories where you were deeply uncomfortable and you came out on the other side of it a better, stronger person. It takes a lot of courage to not only do those things, but to share them publicly with other people. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the other, another story that we did was around going out in the world to find your roots.
Yeah, so that was focusing all on the kind of travel where you are going to personally trace your family's footsteps. Like, we all think that we know our family. We all think that we know the family stories, where we came from, who our ancestors were. And then sometimes we start digging a little deeper into our ancestry, and we actually make a sojourn to our ancestral homelands, wherever those may be, however many generations back. And it's an amazing experience when you step onto the lands of your ancestors. It's almost like there's a drum beat calling you home. It's a call through the blood. And we had a few women that shared their experience where they've actually done that, really researched their genealogy, and went back to discover their family in the hometowns where their families came from, where there were actually, in some cases, some family members still living in those places, which is amazing.
Yeah. And I want to mention too, so who did you interview for that? Because we want to thank them.
So I interviewed a woman named Tara who went to Iceland to explore her family roots there. Joanne, who went to Scotland, which is amazing. Rai, who actually went home to Colombia after being away from her homeland for many years, and left an infant daughter there who she returned for several years later.
Wow.
And moved back with her daughter to the U.S., which is an amazing story.
Yeah.
And Marlene, who actually discovered that on a trip to New Zealand a few years before she received a large box of family archive information, knew that she was standing about 2 kilometers from her great-grandfather's grave in New Zealand, and she did not know that her great-grandfather was buried there, which is amazing. And then Shirley, who went to the Ukraine, where her family was from.
Yeah, those are amazing stories. And by the way, these came to us. I get a lot of emails, which I love and try to be responsive with, and people always send emails with their stories, or through Facebook or whatever social media platform you prefer, or just call. Actually, I meant to have the number handy so that I could, but we'll put that up, because we do have a phone number, and happy to talk to people on the phone too, or text message. So whatever you prefer, but we're always looking for story ideas too, right? That's part of this. And then the other story that we did was about, in terms of memory, was how do you bring the memory of a place that you've been to home, and how do you kind of go back to that place? And so we looked at food and wine, and there's obviously I would have loved to have done something with music too, but
But it's those sensory experiences, whether it's, food and drink, or whether it's music, or whether it's, the touch, taste, feel, smell of things. Those are sensory experiences that become time capsules. And when you have them in your home, whether it's art, music, whether you taste, a bite of something that you've had in another country, that transports you instantly back to that experience, those emotions, the feeling you had, and it's one of the best experiences. It's like going on that trip all over again.
Yeah, just takes you right back. And so we were very, I think, very lucky. We had a number of chefs that participated in it, and then we also had lovely Erin Henderson from the Wine Sisters give us some sommelier recommendations as well. And so that story was also in our newsletter. And what we're doing is sharing it on Fridays, I think, in a little more detail, both on Facebook and Instagram. They also gave us recipes to try out. And then I also found it interesting, like just what food for them brings back that, or spice or...
Yeah, a taste that transports them.
Yeah.
Instantly back to a favored region that they visited and learned how to cook in, or, if they have a home country where they really enjoy the food, that transports them back home and makes them feel closer to the people at home. It's an amazing thing. And really the impetus behind that story is to inspire all of you. Because, the holidays are a time of tradition, but also sometimes tradition gets a little bit stayed, and you want to
or you want to create new traditions,
or you want to create new memories and new traditions, or you really want to bring a flavor of your year back into the end of your year when you're sharing that holiday meal with your family.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you bring a taste of your travels and the places that you love and the flavors and textures that you love into your 2019 meal at home and make it feel like you're going away, even if you aren't going away until the new year, which sometimes is the case.
You can plant the seed for presents.
Exactly,
right?
And maybe
for a tour or a trip.
And maybe sometimes you're having people come over for your holiday 2019 meal who are from different countries, and you want to make them feel welcome and honor some of their traditions and the dishes that are most beloved to them. So it's another idea and a way to do that.
Yeah. So in writing these articles, these are obviously, we're kind of on a heavy topic at the moment in terms of transformation and things like that. But what did you learn when you were talking to our community members, and what kind of resonated with you as something you could learn from them?
Yeah, it's funny because I've had many transformational travel experiences myself, and I didn't realize that this was a universal experience for everyone. But sometimes it's not about the discomfort that you feel in actually doing the thing that you fear to do, or the thing that's holding you back from what will be an amazing experience. It's really about when you come back to your life after that life-changing experience that changed you and made you grow as a person. How do you reintegrate into a life that in some ways you've now outgrown because you're not the same person you were before?
Oh, wow, that's so good. That's so deep. I'm like,
right?
Wow. You got really deep there.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I've had that experience, but I wasn't sure if it was just me or the depth of the experience that I had. But every woman I spoke to said something along those lines about how it's difficult to come back. And one woman, actually Aurelia, did not go back. She eventually sold all of her belongings and is now traveling full time because she could not reintegrate back into her old life.
Yeah, and there's the little things. I was in Kenya last year and I came back, quite. And I have to say, sometimes it takes a little while to process kind of what you've gone through, but then you do wonder, what can I do differently now? From the very simple things like not using plastic bags, to how can I be a better human being, and what are the things I can do to be of service in the world, and things like that. So, but I think sometimes it does take a little bit of time to kind of work through that yourself, right?
Yeah, and that's the uncomfortable bit.
Yeah, well, that would explain why I'm uncomfortable most of the time.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable whenever I'm not traveling.
There we go. or you're not comfortable if you're not uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Maybe that's another way of saying it.
It's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And now I just live in that space. And I don't know how to go back to my comfort zone, because my comfort zone probably used to be this big and now is this big.
Yeah.
So.
I find too, if I'm not doing something like that, I start to get kind of itchy to do something, and which is why I'm going to Puerto Rico in a few weeks. But yeah, it does change your perspective for sure. And what are you hoping? You know, what would be your aspiration for people that are reading these articles, and now may want to go back and read them again? I hope. What do you hope they might learn or do or think or?
Okay, well, first I do hope that this content in some ways makes you feel challenged. And I hope that in some respects it makes you feel uncomfortable, because that's where growth lives. And I hope that it inspires you, and I hope that it inspires you on a couple of levels. I hope that it makes you feel inspired to maybe push those voices of fear and, you know, the little niggling thoughts aside and just do the thing that you're wanting to do. But most of all, I hope it inspires you to action in some way. I hope that you do something new. I hope that you try something new. I hope that you're inspired by somebody's story and seek to emulate it in your own unique way. And, you know, if you try one of our recipes, or you take a trip to explore your roots, or you do something that makes you uncomfortable because you know an exceptional experience lies on the other side of that, I hope you tell us about it and share it with us, because honestly that would be the most amazing holiday gift you could give to us.
Yeah.
Is our content inspiring you? Because that's what we seek to do.
That's amazing.
Where can they send their inspirations and their stories?
editor@JourneyWoman.com.
Yeah. Or call, or send a message on through Facebook,
Instagram. So many ways to get in touch.
Yeah.
And we welcome them all.
Definitely. We also did so we talked about Misadventures already, which is a new kind of fun thing that we want to do, and then we also the newsletter itself is not yet where I want it to be, and the template's not great yet, and there's a lot of technology things that we're trying to work out, but we did introduce in this issue a bit of a destination focus. So it would be great to have any ideas on what destinations would you like us to focus on that would be of interest to you, and you know, when we get the new website up, which we'll talk about in just a minute, we'll be able to do a lot more of that, not just in the newsletter. So this issue, I was in Florida, and was able to spend a few weeks down there. And I am from Florida, but Key West is a new place for me. I have now been there 5 or 6 times, but I did not know Judy Blume had a bookstore there until this last trip. So I was. If anyone like me had
if you're a woman around our age,
if Judy Blume got me through adolescence, I don't know about anybody else, but it was through her books that I learned, a lot. So, and I gave them to my daughter when she became a teenager as well. But just to walk in and see her in the store, and then have a very nice conversation with her, and
she was fangirling, in case you're wondering.
I was completely my daughter was extremely embarrassed. If you happen to read the article that I wrote about this, where it was like, "Mom, stop! You're one of those," and she just kind of left me. But then to see her talking with Judy Blume and knowing that she had read those books, so that was just a lovely experience. And then Judy said to her, "Have you read my book, Summer Sisters?" So she gave Alex a copy of Summer Sisters and signed it for her, and then I saw Alex doing a little fangirl too. So that was really lovely. And I also did a really great literary book tour, walking tour around Key West, which I recommend to anyone who's going down there, because there's so much of Key West that is kind of touristy, and there's the main street, but as you walk around, there are all these little places, and even on the streets of Key West, there are a few I hadn't even noticed before, but quotes from stories and poems and things like that. And I had always gone to Hemingway House, and I knew about Tennessee Williams and things like that. But to know that there are so many Pulitzer Prize winners living in Key West, and they're really trying to create Key West as a literary place that is stimulating and free, and certainly the weather, I think, helps with that, and just it's just very, like, I don't know, it just feels, I love it there. So anyway, so I did that tour, and then went to a number of other places, and I'm actually putting together a guide on Key West of all the places that I've stayed, and the restaurants that are a little bit off the beaten track, and things that I've enjoyed that I thought would be helpful for the community as well, and I think we'll have that ready in the new year. And then I went up to the Turtle Hospital, which is about an hour and a half north of Key West, and where they rescue injured turtles, and they do thousands of turtles they've helped over the last few years, and I think just hearing about the effects of climate change on these turtles, I was really surprised. I thought that most of them would be, of course, shark attacks and animals and things like that, but a lot of the damage being done to turtles and other animals too, but in this case turtles, are being done by people hitting them with boats, which pushes their shell up and creates air in the shell so that they can't dive down and eat. It's a condition, oddly enough, called bubble butt. And the first bubble butt turtle is at the Turtle Hospital, and there were a lot of them swimming around in the pool, and then turtles are also getting tumors from the toxins in the water and fertilizer and things like that. So I learned a lot going there, and it was very nice to meet Betty, who is the general manager of the Turtle Hospital, and I did get a media pass for that, which was $27 saved, but it was a remarkable experience to go. So again, worth a visit if you're in that area. And I've been to a lot of other places down there too, and again, that will come in the kind of the guide I've put together. But so all that to say that we're looking to do destination focuses in the newsletters and on the website. So would love any ideas that you have that you'd like us to focus on. I just want to answer a couple questions that have come in. One is about the website and what's happening with the website, and we are, in terms of making changes to the website, we are actually building a completely new website. And one of the reasons that we're doing
So
this
excited.
is because the current website, as many of you know, was built in 1997, and it predates things like WordPress, and which means we have to program in any copy or photographs. So
Created before mobiles were big, so not mobile responsive.
which is why the text
difficult
is
to
tiny, which is why it's hard to search. So that website has about 3,000 pages of content on it, and we've been able to transfer a huge portion of it actually into a new system, and we're currently in the process of evaluating that content. And I really want to thank everybody who reached out and said that they could help review that content, because we are definitely going to need that help. We're just right now trying to get it into a format that can be edited, and so there's a team of lovely ladies who are helping do that, and I think we should be ready to send out some content in January. And then we've also done a new design, and all of this is being informed by the survey that so many of you did. 1,500 people filled out our website
Amazing.
survey, and like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And then I also got hundreds of emails with other suggestions and ideas, and there's probably too much to go through on this video, but we are making it more accessible. We are making it more searchable. We are making it much, much easier to use, and I'm hoping that we can also share a preview of that with you in February, so that we can get your feedback on that. So all of that is happening in the background, which is partly why we're not publishing too much new content right now, because we want to really focus on getting it right for the new year. And I think I have to say, I've now cried twice seeing the new. Amanda saw me today cry a little bit with the new design, because it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
And
I think modern, clean, intuitive, slick, easy to track with your eyes. Just a really enjoyable reading experience for online.
We have a question on that note.
Yeah.
Will you build in accessibility standards for the new website?
yes,
Absolutely.
yes. And part of that is, as I understand it, is related to the browsers that people are using, and part of it is related to the website. So,
And colors. Colors are
so
also
we're
part of
looking at
accessibility.
colors. We're really doing a review to make
Yeah.
sure that it is.
We're going to make sure it fits AOTA standards.
Yeah. So a lot of thought is going into that, and again, thank you for all of the feedback that you gave us, and everything from and not just on the website actually, but even thinking about things like responsible travel. I think the question was, is it important to you that we focus on things that are responsible? And overwhelmingly, the answer was yes. And then we also asked things like, what products and services would you like to see featured on the site? And we got a lot of feedback on that. So mostly related, obviously, to things you would take with you when you travel, so luggage and backpacks and just a whole range of things. So we're still in the process of going through some of that, but boy, that was so helpful, and that's really informed a lot of our thinking. I also, just before we move on to something else that I wanted to mention, I want to thank the sponsors that have helped us put out the newsletter, and so we have some really wonderful partners who have been with JourneyWoman for a long time, and I hope that the community will continue to support them. We do not get any commission for anything sold through the tours, but Babes in Valley has a tour coming up in the summer. Slow Walking Journeys. Amit Janko, who we also I think published an article from, has a walking trip coming up in Tuscany. Linda from Women's Journey to Kenya has some tours coming up in February and July. And Linda is so wonderful. I really love talking to her. She's and I would love to. I've told her I would love to go on her trip to Kenya. It looks really nice. Pack a Fork is another one that has a number of culinary adventures coming up, and also Isla Women's Retreat, which is doing trips to Bali. So I want to thank all of the women that have helped us with this newsletter, because having their support just makes a huge difference for us, as we're investing a lot to get everything where it needs to be, and to make it really easy for you to access content. The other thing I wanted to do was just thank some of our friends and partners who offered little surprises in our newsletter, right? So we had a couple nice surprises. Janice Waugh from Solo Traveler and I met, and so she offered us her online travel course for solo travel. I think that contest just ended yesterday, and we're going to be announcing 3 winners tomorrow on Instagram. So thank you for those who entered that contest. Erin Henderson from the Wine Sisters also offered a discount for her wine classes, and I have taken her wine class. It is amazing. I can now, swish and sniff and do all the things you're supposed to do when you drink wine, without looking too silly. So that's a great class to go through, and of course, what could be better than drinking wine, and
Not
champagne. And then Vanessa McDonald has a fantastic book called The Brave Journal, and she also offered a JourneyWoman discount for that.
And if you're looking to get uncomfortable in 2020, it's a great idea.
Yeah, and so and it's based on her own personal experience and sharing her learnings with others. And then I also want to thank Carolyn Purcell, who I met earlier this year, who has a success planner, which is intended to help you take action on your dreams. So, and she also offered a discount. So those were some nice things that we thought would be fun to include in this newsletter, and I hope people take advantage of those and try them out, because that's, this is all about empowering you and inspiring you, and I think these are good tools to, especially the wine, to help with that. I'm just kidding. Anyways, the last thing I wanted to mention, and then again, we're happy to take some more questions. One of the questions was how to connect to the JourneyWoman community in the future, and this is exactly that. So our Facebook page is limited in that it's very hard to have kind of multiple discussions going on, and although it has been going on, but we want to create a group. So that's something that will happen in the next few weeks, but it'll basically be a private group where you can go in and ask questions of each other and share learnings. And we also want to set up a mentoring place there, so that those of you with vast experience can mentor people that are just needing to find the courage to travel or travel solo. So,
and if you have a lot of experience, maybe you aren't able to travel anymore, and connecting
yes.
with a newbie
Absolutely.
who really needs your advice will make it feel like you're traveling still, which is amazing. Bringing two needs together and making something completely new out of it.
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely. So we're just setting that up now, and trying to, again, this is new, and as is this experience is new. This is your first Facebook Live?
Yes.
Yes, well, there you go.
On camera. Off camera, no. But yes.
Yeah, that you're aware of then.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, so we're trying to think of some other forums that we can provide to you, and I just love seeing all the advice. Even this week, we've had a few questions about Ukraine and Paris, and and I think the ideas and the comments and the feedback have been so wonderful, and we want to build a bigger forum for that, so that so we can have more of those conversations and make it really easy. So stay tuned. That's coming as well. Those are kind of my news highlights. Unless are there any other questions that? Because again, I cannot read that far away.
Well, where are you headed over the holidays, Karen?
So I'm leaving in a few days to go to Puerto Rico, and I love Spain, but Puerto Rico, we're going to try that this year and stay there for a few weeks. And I have been in touch with the tourism folks there, and they were kind enough to give me a list of women-owned businesses. So I think ever since Hurricane Maria, I've been asking myself, what can I do to help? And I had many people say the best thing you can do right now is go down there and help with tourism, and what the country needs tourism dollars. So we're going to do that, and then I'm also hoping to meet a lot of women-owned entrepreneurs and business owners, and restaurants and farms and tour operators, and eventually create a kind of a women-friendly guide to Puerto Rico. So that's what I'm going to be doing is being in warm weather and escaping the snow and the ice, and which I didn't do last year, so I'm really excited to do it this year. And I think it's and by the way, if anyone has tips on Puerto Rico, please. I was there very young as a teenager on a cruise, and if you've ever been on a cruise with your parents when you're 15, it's not.
Not the same as going, isn't
Maybe
it?
maybe it was different for me. But yeah. Anyways, time to go back and create a whole new experience. So that's what I do. What about you?
So during the holidays, I'm not going anywhere because my daughter's coming home from university in the Netherlands. But so I agreed to stay in the cold of Canada for the holidays. But I'm going to Bali in Australia, and I'm going to go live on that side of the world for about 2 months starting in January. So any Journey women on that side of the world who want to meet up,
Bali.
share your ideas, Bali, Australia. I'll be in Sydney, but touring around to other areas of Australia. So hit me up.
Awesome. And my brother's in Australia. Did you know
Oh,
that?
nice.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, we'll get that hooked up too. Anyways, we just want to again thank all of you for taking time to listen in today. We're probably going to let you get back to holiday shopping and all the things you need to do. The other thing I forgot, but the other thing, speaking of shopping, is some of these books that were in our book club. I'm reading them right now, so I hope that list was helpful because they were all your ideas and wonderful suggestions. So hopefully that gives everyone something to give to the woman in their life as a way to inspire more travel and more learning. So.
Should we give a toast to our community, Carolyn, for the holidays?
Yeah, in fact, so we're ready to, we're going to, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
A little bit of the holiday spirit for everybody.
All right, so cheers to you. Have a very happy holiday, and we look forward to seeing you all in 2020. Cheers.
Thank you for making the last half of 2019 so rich, engaging, and welcoming for both of us. It's been an amazing experience, so thank you.
Here's to Evelyn.
Cheers.
Cheers.